Her professional experience spans across the best companies from Unilever to Tiger Brands, Diageo, Entyce, Vodacom, Standard Bank, and now she leads WPP's OpenX Africa's mission, handling the Coca-Cola business. From her, we gain insights into her upbringing, her career, and her most impactful and impressive brand building projects, as well as her leadership. Welcome to the Thinkerneur Institute of Strategy, the Experience University, where you learn from the people doing the work. Welcome. Firstly, it's such a pleasure to sit here with you. I feel like I've come to the Oracle to learn, and hopefully I can take the learnings and be able to share with the rest of the world. So, welcome to another installment of Conversations under Thinkerneur.
Okay.
We've done a number of interviews, conversations, events across industries and brands. And I love doing interviews, events, and having these conversations because, one, I believe it doesn't matter where you study.
Yeah.
The real world experience is the best university.
That's true.
So I don't necessarily want to say that Thinkerneur is the unofficial best university. But I will say that under various themes, under various banners, and particularly under what I refer to as the Thinkerneur Institute of Strategy, we've interviewed the likes of Nontogozo Madonsela, who's the Group CMO of Momentum Metropolitan, Elizabeth Mukwena, who's the Marketing Director of Unilever, Andrea Kwe, who's now at Heineken, Stembile Ntombela from Brand SA, Tabile Ngwato, who's the CEO and co-founder of Newsroom Africa,
I know her too.
Tsepo Mohlala from Tsepo Jeans, Dark Place, former CMO of Nando's.
Yes.
Who am I missing? Mzamo, former Unilever, Vodacom, and Google, who actually delivered a marketing and MBA masterclass, which Marvin says he watches, or he's watched more than once, which is amazing. I think Marvin is our most views, which is great. Thank you. And also Rory Sutherland, who's currently the vice chairman of Ogilvy UK, where we spoke about, I loved one of his topics where he spoke about psychology as a technology. How do you use psychology to help deliver and drive effective solutions, which has been great. But I must say, sitting here across you, it's almost like this whole thing is coming full circle. It's like I was preparing for this. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
So we spoke a little bit about what your current role is about, but I want to go back.
Yes.
I want to go back to the beginning.
The beginning. Mm-hmm.
Take me to your 15 to 21-year-old self. How would you describe 15 to 21-year-old Lindy-Lou?
Sure, 15. You've chosen an odd place. So 15 to 21-year-old. 2 years before 15, I was 13. My mom died. And my stepdad got killed. So we lived in a township, Eastris, in Pretoria, Pretoria East. So at 15, I was in an orphanage, St. Joseph's Home. But at that age, I had won a scholarship to go to a private school.
Okay.
So
congratulations.
It was a beautiful place because I was at St. Martin's.
Okay.
So a private school in the south. And I was actually coming out of a township and then transitioning in from the orphanage into a private school. So I changed 3 schools in between, like June and December, the death. So you're in a place of no man's land, and then suddenly you're in a place of, whoa, okay, gotten the scholarship, now I'm part of a private school, and just getting to understand who I am. So I think my identity started feeling comfortable.
Okay.
Because in the township where I was never black enough, and I was not colored enough, because my dad's Malawian, was Malawian,
Okay.
and my mom was Cape Malay, so I'm mixed.
Okay.
So I'm Nyasa Busman, as they call it. In the private school, there was none of that, because you're not in an environment where you have to, like, everyone is everyone. Yeah. I was performing very well. I was competing in every sports. Went on to be the first black head girl at St. Martin's.
Wow.
First head of boarding, first hockey team player, first whatever. So actually, my many first started at that age.
Okay.
Actually, that's why
Amazing.
it was, and it was probably the stage that formed my confidence. The orphanage for me was the institution that I needed in life.
Wow.
Because I unlikely could have fallen out of the system. Ended up, not that I discount working at Jet or Edgar's or wherever, but I could have fallen out to be just a statistic like the rest of my family and cousins and sisters. Because I'm one of 6. Yeah, and the only educated one of the 6. So St. Martin's, great platform, great place, space, and formed the confidence of who intrinsically is Lindy now. So I like to believe I'm very humble. A lot of people say I'm very fierce, and I'm very, very resolute. And I'm like, where? And I'm like, it started there. It started in high school. Went on to Wits University.
Before we get to Wits,
yes,
you speak about the orphanage being the foundation.
Yes.
What did it give you? What does that mean?
So it gave me my first single bed. So not having to share. Gave me a secure plate of food. It gave me a place to speak English without being judged.
Okay.
I grew up with my father in Morningside until I was 8 years old. My name Lindy-Lou comes from my father's employer.
Oh, wow.
So people are like, oh, Lindy-Lou Alexander. So Alexander was my mom's surname. And Lindy-Lou, Eric French, Mr. French. There's a street in Morningside called French Lane. So Eric French, my dad worked for Eric French, and he named me Lindy-Lou.
Wow.
So my dad worked, and I stayed on the plot with my father until I was 7 years old. My birthday is late in the year. And when I was 8, I was sent to Eastrus, the colored neighborhood, to go to school. Because, back in that era, it's like, where's she going to go to school? So that's how I ended up at a colored school. And I could not even speak Afrikaans. And I spoke English with an accent. I think it was probably more white then. So I spoke English with that accent, which obviously means you come into an environment, so I was ostracized. So between 8 and 15, I went through an era of, like, I'm not black enough, I'm not colored enough, the hair is not straight, like, when it's wet, the afro is like this. And then on top of it, my dad monthly used to come visit me from the train station, and this very tall, dark Nyasa man would come walking with the oranges and the eggs to come visit his daughter in the township. So my father was a representation of an African man walking to a township, which then enforced that I'm black. So only now as an adult, I'm like, whoa, that context of loving this father. I used to cry for daddy, not mommy. So loving this man, but being in an environment where actually he's enforcing that you are African, you don't belong here. So, and remember, communities and societies they are how they are through the NP or NNP government. So, yeah. So, so that's the identity crisis that I didn't realize I was going through. Because you're just living in it. So, loss of a mother. My mom was an alcoholic. So in colored communities, the colored communities are very well taken care of by the government. So there was a lot of social workers, etc. So because my mom was a lifetime alcoholic her whole life, so even when I then come to Eastrus, there were always social workers there around. I've got a younger sister who my mom birthed during her alcoholism. And so they were naturally in our house, in our two-bedroom house. Two-bedroom house with a toilet outside and everyone else who lives with you. So orphanage comes along and gives you a space where you can breathe. There's no one teasing you. They call it guara. You know, like
Yeah.
the colors can, like, I feel like they naturally all comedians. You know, and people like oh, the comedy, I'm like, yo guys, I grew up like this. Yeah, you know, your father's so dark, or you can't see just the teeth. You know, like it's, so I was always guarad.
Yes.
But it's just the way, it's a cultural thing, actually. So the orphanage comes in and like, okay, here's your, like many bunk beds and stuff. Here's your bed, here's your desk to study, and, you know, a regular plate of food, and you're not competing. There's no scarcity mentality. And you're like, what is this? And there's a pool. And remember, I grew up on the yard with my father where, with John French, I think we were babies, and there was a hill, and he pushed me into the pool. And that's where I learned, that's how I learned to swim.
Okay.
Obviously between, I think, 3 and 4. Because, you know, you're on the yard. So I could, like, cycle, swim, I could do all of those things.
Amazing.
Horse riding from, you know, by 8, you've done all of those things. So now you come into this environment where you're not there's no scarcity, you're not competing. You have your own bed. You have a desk. A desk to study. It looks like, you know, the house which I used to see. And there's like there's no one teasing you.
Wow.
So the orphanage was my saving grace.
Amazing.
And so essentially when I say my mom's death was therefore, like, I don't know if it was a gift, but that in itself, it was part of what needed to happen at that stage of life. So the orphanage was a gift to me.
Wow.
Because my younger sister was after me, and none of my siblings, no one has turned out as well as I have. I'm still the only educated one, which is pretty sad because I've attempted to uplift my nephews and nieces, etc. And yeah, the success rate has been very low in terms of transitioning. A lot of it is also contextual of the environment and,
of course,
yeah, the people where they're at. So yeah, that's the phase of the orphanage in my life. But it's doubled up with the private school.
Yes.
So I have the safety and security, and then so at the private school in that last year, they're like, yo, how does this kid get A's in everything with all this loss in the last 3-4 months? And everyone's like, oh, you know, go see the social worker, the psychologist. What's wrong? And they're like, no, man, actually, this child is bright. Because, you know, from grade 1, I was always first in class in the colored neighborhood.
Okay.
So, and they're like, okay, no, actually. And then it was an Anglican orphanage. So all these institutions are always associated with some churches or communities. And so I went to all the Anglican schools, did all of them, like, okay, Anglican scholarship to go to this private school, that private school.
Okay.
So I ended up at St. Martin's. Then at St. Martin's, it's like, okay, now it's school, let's harness the power that there is. So it was the freedom to just be, the freedom to, like, play hockey, the freedom to, you know, be in the athletics team, freedom to play squash, freedom to just be. So, and that was the beautiful merger.
Wow.
From the 15 to 20 years of state. I started school late, so I only finished school at 19.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, my high school was the best years of my life.
Wow.
I would go back any day.
I don't think that many people can say that about high school.
Best years of my life.
That's
Best years of life.
amazing.
I'm like, actually, adulting is hard.
Indeed.
No, adulting, no, it was the best years of my life. Had the most fun, met the most fantastic people. It's the years that formed me, that created the foundation of who I am.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, the level of resilience that was built there, you can't. I mean, I've got a daughter, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish, and I'm like, no, but you know, you can't. She hasn't gone to an orphanage. She doesn't live in the scarcity era. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the phase between 15 and 20.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is, if you were to ask anybody, orphanage or your own home, I think most of us would go
own home.
Own home. I find that fascinating that environment was sort of like home for you. You know, in principle, by definition, that's what it felt like. I feel like that's...
No, it was beautiful.
Wow.
So
Wow.
if it's at that life stage, orphanage, definitely.
Wow.
So the intent of what orphanages or homes, institutions are, is to provide safety and love.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely, that's what I needed and that's what I got.
Amazing.
So yeah, I wouldn't
Okay.
change it for anything.
That's great. Now, moving into your higher education learning, where did
Yeah.
you go and why there and what did you study?
So, being in a private school, everyone was going to be a doctor, a vet. Yeah, you know, you like, because remember also in the era of like rich kids, like relative, you know, then I'm like, okay, I don't know what I want to be. Like, it must be sciences. Maybe I want to be an optometrist. Maybe I want to do like a BSc. So I applied for BScs everywhere and got accepted, but Wits University gave me a head girl scholarship.
Oh,
So you have got to
what
go.
is that?
So it's they look at institutions and they're like, okay, the results,
Okay.
and then they're like, okay, okay, my head girl. This person was a head girl, so it's a leadership scholarship.
Okay.
So it's academic as well as
Okay.
other, like leadership qualities.
Okay.
What I also had in my favor then was like disadvantaged. So it's like, okay, this, so they like create criterias. Like, okay, if this person is disadvantaged, yeah, definitely. Also a head girl. And then, because remember, there's thousands or probably hundreds of people that were all competing for scholarships. So you apply, and you apply with your result, but you also apply for a scholarship, not a scholarship, for a bursary. And then within the bursary, they're like, no, this person goes into this quadrant, that quadrant, that quadrant. So when I got the letter, they're like, oh, here's it's a head girl scholarship based on your results.
Okay.
Reason why this becomes important is because I went into BSc. So I started with 2 years of a BSc, and I failed physics in the second year.
Okay.
When you're on a scholarship, there's no space for 49%.
Of course.
There's no space for that. And so no, then you go and appeal, and they're like, no, based on the fact that you were on a full scholarship, because like, you remember people are competing for bursaries, you get excluded. So I was excluded from WITS.
Wow.
That point I don't know, but I was very busy on campus already in the second year. Busy being, I was in RAG, I was doing voice of WITS, radio reading, me and my friend Tabiso, I was all over. Now I understand in the review, the all over was seen at the rector's office when they're doing exclusions. This person was not studying, this person. So it was like, so the SRC, obviously they always look at like who's excluded. So the SRCs are very involved. And I got a call from, was it Shibe or Tato Wamakhodi, the SASCO team.
Okay.
They called me, they said, listen, yeah, we believe you've been excluded. So back then they were obviously looking at the exclusions and is it academic or is it financial?
Okay.
And they said, you've been excluded financially. And I was like, what do you guys mean? And they said, come in. So this was the SASCO office. And then they explained to me, no, this is a financial exclusion. You're actually not academically excluded. If you change your degree, you and I literally said, what? And that's what happened. So he's like, okay, so we'll go over to the commerce degree.
Okay.
And then, like, they just re-registered. They said, no, but now you have no funding, whatever. And that's when NEFSAS was introduced to me. Only then, 2 years in. It was now the third year, because remember, 2 years of BSc. And with NEFSAS, like, I got some funding, so I found some part-time jobs. Long and short is, I started working at Cape Union Mart. And I worked in the Autopage call center, which was sufficient enough for me to put myself through WITS.
Oh, wow.
But the important thing that happened there is I became a SASCO member.
Okay.
Because I was like, what? There are many more people like me that do not understand it. Because you come from, remember, like, also I don't have parents, I didn't have anyone guiding me. And then I went into an orphanage where everyone takes care of you. And then when you turn 18, there's no one advising you anymore. You've gone out into the world. And so at varsity, I was having the ball. I was having a party. I'm not going to lie to you. I was having a party. So they were actually right.
Okay.
Like, you can be like on a Fulbright scholarship, thinking like you're not taking care of that. And you come from a poor family, so you should be thinking everything.
Correct.
Yeah. So Then I started my BCom psychology and marketing.
Okay.
The thing is, I just joined SASCO. So now I became a SASCO member because actually there are many people like Lindy and many more. And I guess they also thought, this one has skills. Like she's already involved. So, I mean, I became an SRC member and I was then head of projects and eventing. So I think marketing followed me long before I knew about marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my journey into BCom psychology and marketing.
Okay.
So I finished at WITS, but it was hard because I was literally working full time at the Autopage Cellular call center, and then weekends at Autopage Cellular, because I was staying on campus, and that means it's the shortfall of a full WITS degree as well as accommodation. I say to people now, if I'd known, like if the internet was democratized then, and I'd known there was cheaper institutions, which was like Rao, Joburg University, then I was like, which was like half of the price of what WITS was then, I probably would have gone elsewhere and had a different experience. But that being said, fully registered at WITS, but hardly there because I was working all the time. I had fantastic friends, and which is why my friends from WITS are my dearest, where I was copying notes in the middle of the night. And, when some friends, I mean, to this day are still besties, but they're like, okay, you need to study, we'll get you food. So they would take food from the canteen, because, some of them had ESCOM scholarships or whatever, the Chelsea buns, to say, okay, we'll get you food.
Chelsea bun, you just took me back.
Yes,
Oh,
the Chelsea buns on concourse. So I had friends who were like, helping me out so that I didn't have to work all the time. But essentially loved it. Came out with my BCom marketing degree, but also working in the call center for 3 to 4 years because it sustained me. It was 25 Rand an hour, which by today's standards, like then, it was a high paying rate for a student. And working in Cape Union Mart, now when I walk into those stores, it's weird. I like camping, but when I look at them, I'm like, hi guys, I'm triggered. Yeah. So the favorite part of varsity was SASCO, and then the second year becoming an SRC member, full SRC member, and helping students.
Wow.
So the leadership qualities likely started at high school, but continued through varsity. And end of varsity, there's obviously everyone who comes onto campus looking for graduates. So Unilever, SAB, Coca-Cola, everyone came on. And I was lucky enough to secure a Shell a graduate program and the Unilever graduate program.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Okay. And which one did you go with?
Everyone knows me as the Unilever graduate program, but no one knows except 2 or 3 friends who like to tease me about it. I actually went for Shell.
Oh, really?
I went for Shell because Shell was 8,000 Rand a month and Unilever was 7,000 Rand a month.
Okay.
And the allure of that 8,000 Rand a month and Cape Town was impossible to let go. So I went to Shell for 2 months. So I went to Cape Town, but all my friends were down in Durban, varsity friends.
Wow.
This is Bokensi, Norden, Anwar, and they were having a ball as graduates at Unilever. And then one day, like, I don't know, me and Kenzani were on the phone, because with cell phones, Motorola's then. They were like, no, we're going out to party. And I was like, guys, every morning before I start work, I have to read the economy parts of every newspaper at Shell, because I was put in the strategy team. And big, beautiful building, 20th floor. And I worked for an English boss, so a lot of these English consultants. But I had to do the synopsis of the economy pages before we started work. So it was a lot of work for a graduate. And I literally, like the one time, like, I can't do this. And within 2 or 3 hours, I got a phone call from Twelo Kodisang. He was then at Unilever. He says, hey, Lindy, I believe the choice you made when you turned us down is not working for you. Give me the Shell HR person's number. And Twelo Kodisang, who, He called the Shell HR director then. I do not know. I don't understand. All I know, I got called to the floor down to come down. HR, and they said, sign all of these papers. Remember, I'm a young kid, graduate. I'm like, they said, yeah, and please make sure you're out of the Don apartments, because obviously they put you up in the Don apartments for the first 6 months.
Okay.
The keys will be collected tomorrow at 10. Unilever has released you, and all your transfers and stuff, whatever, is covered. I was like, what just happened? Then I got another call saying someone's going to call you. Your ticket has been booked. A driver will fetch you XYZ, and you're flying out to Durban tomorrow morning. And I ended up in Durban a day later. And so I was 2 months late into the Unilever graduate program because it just started. And that's where the rest of my life started, which is now 24 years later.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
It reads and it sounds like a scene from a movie.
You actually, I haven't, but now and then when the friends tease me like, yeah, this one, she never makes the right choice. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
So now you are at Unilever.
So, yes, I'm in Unilever in 2000, yes.
And you're working on, what portfolio are you in?
Yes, okay.
And what sort of brands are you working on?
The love of my life. I was on the body care portfolio, skincare portfolio.
Okay.
So I came in, and because I'm slightly older than like my peers then who had just graduated, they're like, okay, we need to put her on project work. And remember, I also came in late.
Okay.
So graduates come in, they go into 3-month rotations.
Okay.
So I come into the body care portfolio, and then I was working for Carol and Sarah. And then Haile, Cambridge Mokanyani, also there was a changeover. So I am working on Dawn lotion.
Yay.
Guys. Oh, to this day. I actually bought it for the first time maybe in 10 years last week. Because I was looking for my Dove stuff, and then I was like, like I want to smell this pink, this pink bottle. So I started off on Dawn lotion. So it's the body care lotions portfolio. And I did the biggest marketing sampling campaign of my life. So the Dawn lotion portfolio, there was like Dawn musk, Dawn cocoa butter, what was the other one? Dawn lemon, and we had to change it because it was the era of fruit flavors. So it was, the trends was all about fruit. So the pink went to strawberry, the lemon went to, the lime went to lemon. It wasn't lemon, I can't remember what it was. But like, so I launched the fruit flavors of Dawn. And in terms of mass market, and that's where I fell in love with the belly of the nation or the belly of the continent, which is mass market. So I would like to purport that I'm a mass market expert, actually.
I love that.
It started at Dawn.
Okay.
So the Dawn portfolio did all of Dawn with Cambridge was then, Cambridge became my boss. So it was Dawn and then Dove. So Dove, we started introducing Dove and Vaseline.
Okay.
So, you know, E-Vaseline, petroleum jelly.
Petroleum jelly, yeah.
I only learned it was, because we grew up calling it Vaseline, petroleum jelly there.
Yes.
Like, hey, this oil and whatever, that everyone used to take into, and everyone used to take Vaseline to put in their Dawn lotion because there wasn't enough glycerin. Like the glycerine, there wasn't enough oil. Because, you know, we get ashy as black people. So things that we learned.
And Dawn was more diluted or more liquid.
Watery.
Yeah.
It was. So when we relaunched it, it became more thicker and had more glycerine in. Because we did research about what, you know, for the mass market, what was like, no, we get ashy and we scratch and like we need Vaseline and we were mixing it. So the formulation was changed to have more glycerine in, more perfume, highly fragrance because there was swanky look in them that were highly fragrance and you could smell it all day, and which was important because as commuters who was like we'd get up early, be in the taxi, be in the sun, so the fragrance has to last all day. And that's how swanky looks or the imports were working harder. So yeah, so Dawn lotion was my first brand that I worked on.
Amazing. You know, a lot of people talk about Vaseline, but Dawn, you know, I think is one of those brands that's anchored in our culture. I think there's so much nostalgia in there. Now tell me about the changes that you were making. What sort of research were you exposed to or did you do that required you to make changes to the product? And secondly, is smell similar to foam in terms of soap? You know, if you're using washing powder and if there's no foam, I remember, you know, sometimes you don't buy Omo or Surf, you buy something else, and then you realize, hi man, the foam is not. Then it doesn't feel like the clothes.
It's being washed.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Does the smell of lotion or the scent play a similar role?
It did in that era. So we call it product efficacy. So for Dawn specifically, what mattered then was, and you mentioned it was watery. I'm surprised you remember. So it was watery. So it was about moisturization and what moisturization means, which is it keeps you moisturized and shiny for longer. How we found that out is there was a research department. So remember, we were learning. And the research department was headed by Mzamo Masito then. He was our senior. So in Mzamo's, and then, they were like he had people in his team. So we worked together and they did a lot of clinicals and tests. So as a marketing person, you work with the research team and you go out and you do lots of focus groups. And then you interview men, you interview women, you interview kids. And so they'll tell you different things like watery. So therefore, you waste it, do you understand? So that then it's like, okay, the spout must be smaller. But actually, that's not the problem. It's must come out and then we mix it with glycerin. And then it's like that. So actually it's a lot of, and you're like, why glycerin? Because it's not shiny enough. So the research team works with the marketing and the product team. And the product teams are, I spoke about the packaging. So this is where all of it comes together. So marketing is not a sole capability. You work with interrelated capabilities. So that's where I learned about collaboration, and they call it integrated project management, which we learned very early on. And a lot of time now when I speak to people about when you're doing marketing, it's like actually if you haven't done integrated project management, which is I think Procter & Gamble, Colgate, Unilever, good marketeers have not come out starting with TV ads. That is not, like when people think, oh, what do you do in marketing TV? I'm like, no, we don't do TV ads. We actually look at what's the consumer insight, what's the experience, like how is the product made up. That's what Unilever taught us. So that's what we did there. Fragrance was important in that era. And when I say in that era, it's like, it is, fragrance is still important, like, oh, what perfume are you wearing today, you know, Joe Malone, good, yeah. So no, we're not, and I must remember there's also what we call, these different income groups for this, like simple terms, layman classes, you know. That era, fragrance on lotion was important because they were not buying spray, and also you're traveling, you're commuting all day. So whereas now, and this, if you go and smell the fragrances on the shelf.
Are they muted?
They're muted. Because people are now using spray and perfume.
Okay.
And also, there's probably like, you don't want to smell like, you like fruit or whatever. So people are now using muted smells and your choice comes in your spray. Yeah, okay. So this is today's context. So for that era, and this is where research, trends and insight and experience becomes important. And things evolved. So yeah, so that was Dawn and Dawn, Vaseline, and Dove. Okay. I also then I worked on Surf. So I also worked in the washing powder category.
Okay. Did you make a shift, or was it part of your portfolio management?
No, they shift you.
They shift you, okay.
Yeah. So which speaks to a lot of things in what's happened in my journey in the 24 years. I have always been seeked out, or I don't, it's probably like once where I applied for a job.
That's gangster.
I have been seeked out. So they pushed and said, okay, no, this one is finished on this project. Actually, before that I was on Pond's, you know, vanishing cream.
Yes, my mom had Pond's, yeah.
Every person's mother had Pond's. Because as black people, like, and now I know I'm very shiny, I need Pond's. Like having a matte face was important. So everyone used Pond's. So I worked on Pond's, specifically what we called Pond's Perfect Color Complex, which is known as Fair and Lovely, which is, but for women's skin, it's about the blemishes. So that was then. Then I was moved to Surf Wash. So speaking about foam, it was the biggest thing. If it's not foaming, it's not working.
100%.
Like to this day, which is why people are struggling when they speak about washing machines, because in washing machines you don't want foam. So understanding the trends and what the efficacy is important. Yeah.
Wow. So what does it take for you to understand what's happening quarter by quarter or whatever? How do you, or how should we be approaching research, understanding, augmenting product, producing products that will work in market? What does it take?
So it's planning. So as if you're a solid marketeer and a marketeer who's worked through the process, a lot of businesses, all companies essentially, have what they call a cycle. So you plan, and when you do evaluations and compare, you look at where you are as a competitor versus what your brand stands for, and you plan about, okay, so if we had this market share and we want double the market share, what do we need to do? And then, so if we need to go beat the competitor, you look at your positioning, you look at how's your product performing, you do the research to understand why is it not performing well, because you want to win. So you look at every aspect of it and you plan it out. Business cycles are usually quarterly. So in the quarter, you know what your objectives, your OKRs, your objectives, key initiatives, and the results need to be. So in January, what they need to be in December. And you measure them in quarters. Like, okay, if this is the plan that was approved by the board or the shareholders, we said, you know, if it's going to be water, that we've increased the portfolio's revenue by X, Y, Z, you get evaluated. And it's like, okay, did your plans work? What worked well? What didn't work well? What must you iterate or what must you change? So that's a planning cycle.
Okay.
And what I like about this question is a lot of people don't know that marketeers, like if you are responsible for a P&L, that's what you're actually doing. You're not just sitting doing adverts.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting doing the consumer insights and research. You are actually running a business. So, and that is what the Unilever marketing school taught us. As a lot of others, just like other places, they teach you how to do business planning.
Okay.
So, and business planning that's how we're going to be evaluated from the beginning to the end.
Amazing. And I think, do you think that's where maybe, I'm trying to think of a term, perhaps maybe misalignment between client and agency, where you're possibly thinking about the bird's eye view picture holistically.
Yes.
There are probably a million things running through your head. And then we come in there, we're saying, here's a strategic platform, this is the positioning,
Yes.
and here's the creative idea that's going to be expressed through TV.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile, or do you think agencies have an understanding or comprehend what's going in your head versus what we might be obsessed about, or what might be of priority in that context, where it's about the creative and getting the creative out there?
So I'm now looking after an agency, an operating model right through Africa. And in the 18 months, part of the success has been that I understand business. And when I've had a discussion with my teams, I'm like, you're only 20% of what the client is worried about. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you come in here and you're angry, or you understand, they're not giving us time, or they're not understanding, and like, why are they not available and coming to solve this with us? I'm like, they are running a P&L. So advertising agencies do not have the exposure of the full P&L. They're only doing the part of the marketing aspect. And the rest of, and marketing in totality is not just the TV advert. It is like you building the consumer experience, you doing the packaging, which is not necessarily with us, that's with the packaging supplier. So you're worrying about production and the lines. So marketing is a full ecosystem, and as the advertising agency, depending on the capabilities, we call it, that you service the client with, you are not 80% of the time. So we have a misperception that actually, okay, we are the marketing's 100% and we're not. And when we come up with a creative platform and I would hope, like what we're doing and some of the benefits that we have changed in terms of is there's a partnership approach. So we should never be in a situation where the client and the advertising agency is in a place where like they dislike the creative platform and the execution plan because like the relationship we have now with our client is we collaborate and we partner and essentially we co-create. So we should never be in a place where anyone is just uncomfortable because we're journeying together. We're working this path together. So I'd like to say that's not what happens with my client currently. Where I come from in other places, though there has been a disconnect because as the marketing team, I mean, I was in banking and people would think like we just have to worry about the advert. But actually you're worrying about acquisition. And the acquisition is about the experience on an app. Do you understand? And that is more with the digital platforms team. Like, is the app opening? Is the app not working? Is, you know, so those other, and not all your agencies are involved in that. So that's about the experience. That's the experience team. And that might be a different supplier. So as advertisers and strategists, we've got to understand we are not the 100% of a marketing's problem. So that's why they can't be there at your beck and call. They are actually doing 80% of running the P&L. And that's the biggest difference that's happened here in our system. And I've come and I'm like, guys, you can't even partake in some of the conversations because you're not thinking of it from a business perspective. You're just thinking of it from one aspect. So you've got to show up more as a strategic partner. So a general manager. And as a general manager, you need to be able to say, okay, great. Like, this is the brief that come in. But have you noticed that actually there's been zero distribution? Do you understand? Like, yeah, you're saying we're going to launch this day. When is it coming off the packaging line? That's a very different. And my team I'm like, no. So we're not going to launch on that day. That's not the real date. And the team are like, oh, what? I'm like, did you ask, like, can I see the new packaging? No, they're doing a mock-up. I'm like, okay, yeah. What are we rushing this for? So if it's only going to come off the packaging line in 6 weeks' time, which is the 30th of November, why are we being rushed to deliver everything on the 1st of October when we actually can have the quality of the time to do the work? And are they rushing us because they don't trust us? Or they're rushing, so what is this fake deadline? And then people are like, oh, we never thought of it like that. I'm like, no, okay. Can you ask them for like the mock-up of the artwork? So where is it going to be on the artwork? What is this price? You know, what is, if this is about price compliance, where is it? So the agency teams are like training to think more as general managers because then like the tension goes away in terms of like, oh, Bogosi said no, 1st of October. No, we can't. And now you come in and put everyone under pressure and like just asking, oh, okay, oh, great. So 1st of October, 100% distribution, 50% distribution. Tell me, okay. So if it's only 20% distribution, okay. So are we focusing on traditional trade or general trade? Is it forecourts only? So why are we trying to think, like, can we stagger this?
Yes.
So it's understanding. I call it scenario planning.
Okay.
I'm very big on scenario planning and understanding because I believe that you can eat an elephant in chunks. And a lot of times we believe we want to take one big bite, and that is what exhausts you, and that's what leaves people and teams exacerbated because there's constant, like, we're never going to make it. You can't, but you've got to understand the problem. And generally in traditional agencies, they don't understand the full business context.
Interesting. So you remind me of, I want to ask a question, but, you know, I remember when I was working on PepsiCo snacks side, when we got briefed, and I think this will then lead to my question, where the part of the brief was to say, we want to sell, I think it was like 1.2 tonnage of snacks, you know. So I was like, in my mind, that number makes no sense. It's like, it felt arbitrary. It's like, what is 1.2 tonnage?
Yes.
So then I said, what is the actual number of packs?
Units, yes.
Units, yeah. I was like,
yes, packs.
And then they were like, I remember, I'll just use a random number, like 1 million packs.
Yes, 1 million packs.
And if it's 1 million packs, in my mind, I was like, easy. So that means
yes,
you could divide that million across the 9 provinces. You know, that means you need only to sell 100,000 in each province,
Yes.
then it's like, for me, that doesn't say TV. You know,
Yes. Yes.
there are multiple ways that
Yes.
you can do that, which is what I've always felt like is missing from a creative agency perspective, where we are being boxed into, regardless what the brief is, regardless
Yes.
what the problem is,
Yes.
it's always a TV commercial.
It used to be always a TV commercial.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it could be anything. It could
Yes.
really be anything.
Yes.
Once you've done your research, your planning cycles, and
Yes.
you
Yes.
have gathered all the insights, you know, which then leads me to one of your projects, which I thought was, you know, it was a fascinating thing for me, the best of both worlds, right? You know, when it came out, I don't want to be vulgar, but it effed my mind, you know,
It.
in the sense that
Yes.
in the category,
Yes.
you know, unless if you bougie or whatever, you know, but for the general public,
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
for the general public, there's white bread and brown
From
bread.
bread.
The narrative is brown is healthier than white, and that's it, right? And then here comes this campaign
Yes.
that says, it's an innovation that says you can actually have both in one.
Yes.
You know, what I want to ask you is the process that led to that innovation and solution.
Yes.
What was happening in the background? What was happening in the category? And what was the process like of developing from conception, ideation, all the way to brand marketing with the product being out there?
And the product still being on shelf.
Amazing.
It's still being on shelf.
That's what, you know, that's what I call
Like
impact, where your
yes.
work is like, it goes
Yeah.
beyond your tenure, you
Like,
know,
oh.
where it's like, you're not there, but it's still there, you know.
It's like 15 years later. I'm like, it's still on shelf. So
amazing.
I actually spoke to someone 3 days ago about Tiger brands, and they were like, oh, yeah, but, you know, would you go back to FMCG, whatever? And I was like, whoa, one of my best innovations ever to this day is on Albany bread. And now you bring it up. So the concept of 2-in-1, like we all like 2-in-1s, or, you know, we want 2 for the price of 1. So if you think, so conceptually, you need to understand what the value exchange is. So that's where, with the research term, you understand.
Okay.
Then,
I suppose the typical approach would be 2 loaves for one. Yes. But you went 2 loaves in one.
Yes.
Not 2 loaves for one.
So, but now-
typically the value is 2 for the price of one.
But this is where research comes in. So you look at, like people like this 2 for 1, or what they call of Bogos, buy one, get one free type of thing. And that's still one, Bogos are still very
Correct.
big in retail. And so with the research team, and this is where I speak about good FMCG. So my last, was banking and telco, but actually everything that I know as a marketeer started in FMCG. So in that Albany team, research and what a lot of people don't do, product development. So the people that are in the factory, that the smarts, I call it, the ones who are baking and whatever, the product development team. And then I used to sit in Germiston at the factory as well. So at Tiger
love
Brands, everyone else was there, but I was in the factory, because on bread, if that machine stopped for 5 minutes, we'd be in trouble, because the trucks at 4 o'clock must be loaded and they go and deliver. So any line stopping for any minute was very dangerous.
Wow.
Because there are gazillions of loaves being consumed every day. So we looked at, okay, so what's the portfolio? Brown bread, to this day, it's cheaper, and it's regulated with what the ingredients are. But people love white bread. Love white bread because it's softer, it tastes different, and it's nice. However, the health benefits in terms of fiber is not in white bread. So as a corporation was like, actually, how do we do something, how do we get people to eat something that's healthier? So initially we did a lot of marketing on brown bread. You need to know when to call it when the duck is not moving.
Is it?
Like, brown bread is good for you. Pack lunch boxes. If you do buy more brown bread.
But it's not landing.
It's not landing. And then you're like, there's a barrier here. With the research teams, there's a barrier. Like, we're not, when we speak about quarterly, so like, our volumes are not moving. And then you're like, okay, let's do research. The research, I'm like, people do not like brown bread. It's not as nice, it's not as soft, they can't dip it in the tea. And you're like, whoa, actually, we're not, doesn't matter what you can stand on your head. You are not going to sell more brown bread over white bread.
The problem is the product itself.
The problem is the product, but it's preference. Because when you say the problem is the product, it sounds like the product is wrong. The product is actually right.
Preference.
It's preference, it's choice. It's what people like, and that's what marketing is about. Something can be good for you. It doesn't mean you're going to choose it.
Absolutely.
So in this instance, so it's like, okay, you know, there was also the legislation. So from a government perspective, you know, like you need to encourage people to eat what's healthier, etc. And we're like, okay, how do we do this? How do we put vitamins in white bread? And that's where, you know, like
was that the headline brief line or question? Not necessarily.
How do we? No, the headline was how do we make white bread healthier?
Okay.
And like then naturally, what does health mean? Health means vitamins. Health means this. Health
I love
means
the ideation process.
yes. Yeah, so ideating but we ideated with the factory guys as well.
Correct.
And then you ask, and then you're like, you don't need to do research. You could have just gone on the factory line to say which bread you eat. Why not? Why not this one? This one. And then also my teeth. This one is like a soft. And then brown bread is grainy, and like it's so many what we call gross negatives. But actually, it's choice. It's preference. People like. And then you're like, okay, what do you wish the bread has? And then people say my bread is fine because I eat it with peanut butter, acha. No, my bread is fine. And I was like, okay, if you're unhealthy and you need to eat, maybe all the stuff that is in that brown bread, but it mustn't taste like brown bread. So the taste and experience was important.
And the look? Because it isn't necessarily, it doesn't look like brown bread.
No, it wasn't about look.
Okay.
But remember, associations of color, it's because grain with the wheat, it will always be brown. So there's no way you can make brown bread looking white. But it was about the texture.
Okay.
The texture is what mattered. And then it's like, okay, what is so healthy about brown bread? Brown bread has fiber in it. White bread doesn't. So we're like, okay, how do we get white bread to have fiber in? And that is with the health of the brown bread. So lots of research, and then when you do scanning, competitor scanning, and voila, in Australia, there was a bread with high fiber in white bread. So white bread with all the health of brown bread.
Wow.
And then you're like we have been wasting our time, and it's right there. So import the bread, look at it, compare it, the R&D team looked at it. And then, okay, we did a lot of testing, hey, because the bread was becoming stretchy and chewy, like chewing gum. That was a long process.
I can imagine.
Because the experience of bread being dipped and being soft was important. So our team worked long and hard to get that right. Once they cracked it, we were running. And then obviously we had to up the price. So it is more expensive than normal white bread, but then it just took off.
Wow.
Because people then started understanding you do need fiber, you do need health, and then like, okay, so yeah.
I think maybe one of the insights I could add there was I've never seen a quarter, a brown bread.
Actually,
you know, it's like it never, like, you know.
No,
I suppose that's like an indicator of
your quarters will not sell.
They will not sell.
They will not sell.
You know, I find it so fascinating how the bad things are tastier and you just can't get away from them, and they're easily accessible.
Preference.
And the other things that you should be going for, it's like, oh my goodness.
But that's life, though.
Nah?
Yeah, that's just the way of life. I don't think it's bad, but it's like we choose things that make us feel good, that we are comfortable with, that taste well. Yeah, I call it preference and choice.
You know, I think for me, that is another, you know, sort of like point to double click on in terms of how we try to connect and resonate with audiences.
Yes.
Right? So where most of our decisions are mostly emotional. It's about how it makes us feel. I always use this example of, you know, you go into an environment where logic says you need this before you buy this. But people go, no, I'll buy this. This one will come,
Afterwards.
afterwards. Like, for example, logic says, buy a house before you buy a car, But then people say, I'm always on the road. It's like
I want the
people
comfort. Yeah.
people have to see my car. Nobody's
And
coming
it
to my
says something
house.
about me.
It says something about, it's that,
Yes.
expression, which then leads me to my next question. I think one of your other platforms was Next Level
Yeah.
at
Vodacom.
Vodacom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, I think, an additional question I'll add there is, who then leads the product innovation, the development, who leads that process in
Yes. Yes.
producing or bringing something new into the market? And maybe you could also answer by, or add your answer by including the challenges, the objectives, the business intent. What were you trying to achieve? And
Yes, yes. So I had left national brands. I was marketing director for beverages, Frisco, Five Roses, and coffee in them, and went to telco. So Vodacom. That was a shift, a difficult shift, and you alluding to the fact is, as marketing in FMCG, you used to being the heart and the center of what matters. Then you get into telco, and you must just execute. Yeah, like you don't get involved that deeply in everything, and the engineers and technologists have they have the decision right in meetings. Next Level, how Next Level came about was the telecoms industry was just segmenting. So before in telcos, it was you either prepaid or you're a contract customer. That was it. So what we introduced then was segmented marketing. All telcos, all competitors were going through what we call a tough time, and we've had to introduce value propositions. So, and the value propositions was like, actually, let's segment high value, mass market, youth,
Okay.
and start looking at what their preferences are. So that's with the team, that's the research team. Research, when people say like there's no opportunity in research, I'm saying you just don't know. In all companies, the research squads, the thinkers, the strategists are actually critical. They're the critical input, the cog in the wheel.
Please say that again, especially the strategist bit.
Yeah, no, you are the ones like, because that's like the long-term vision and mission. So it's like, actually, why? So you do the 5 W's, the things that you guys make us like think through all the time. So it was like, okay, so within the youth segment, we want to grow. How are we going to do that? We're not going to grow by doing just a prepaid card and a contract card. So working with the research team as well as the engineering team, the R&D team. And like
It's still that, in principle, that integrated project
way of working. So when people think that, oh, marketeers, so as marketeers, you don't have the right, you are a partner, but remember, I didn't study engineering. Well, some marketing people are engineers, but it's not your accountability and responsibility. There is the R&D team that needs to make sure that, when people are recharging and people that are working, that's not what you do as a marketeer. So with that team, integrated project team, it was like, okay, what are youth looking for? Youth are looking for what we called it then squad goals. They speak to 5 people all the time. They're 5 best friends. We now call them squads, but it's like they want to speak to their friends ongoing all the time. Or actually, when you look at who have they called the most, it's those 5 people. Why don't we just make it a squad team? So for this price, you can speak to these 5 people all unlimited. It's like, oh, okay, that's what youth want. It's not their mother, father, because you think like you need airtime to, no. It's friends. And very similar to like it's, and what concerns them? What are their passion points with the strategy team? And this is where agency people were critically involved. The strategists were like your best friends, what are the issues and implications? What are the trends amongst the youngsters? What are they saying? So when you collaborate well with your research team and your agency teams, you work through and you do the issues and implications, the 5 W's, what's going on, was that actually for the youth, like they're looking for offers that take them to the next level. It's as simple as that. It's like, oh, take you to the next level. It's like, no, actually, this package is the Vodacom next level. It's like the youth want to get, and it's now, I was at banking for 5, I'm here 2. So this is like 8, 9 years ago. So speak what it says. Youth, just call it what it
That's
is.
the punchline. I love that.
You know, like the Vodacom next level. This offer is the next level. What is in next level? There's rewards. Like what about rewards? With the strategists, the 3 Fs, fashion, food, and fun. Youth are looking for fashion, looking for food, and fun. So you include the 3 Fs. Like, you know, what are they looking for? They're looking to educate themselves, upgrade them. You partner with, institutions.
Udemy.
So you get free courses, whatever. And then, because we are the offer, we're a telco, you need to give them unlimited talk time or data time bundles with their friends. So you call it a squad goal. You have that all in one. This is the Vodacom next level package just for you, because Bogosi, you are it. And you're like, this speaks to me. It resonates, it connects with me, understand the passion points. So the vision was, how do we grow amongst the youth? How do we keep them hooked in? So hook in is like, because it must be a contract, so they can't just opt out.
Okay.
Like, throw the SIM card away. And then like, just how do you keep the loyalty within? So the design was done with the digital engineering, marketing, agencies. It was a full ecosystem of people. And for the first time, we launched the Vodacom Next Level app. So in the app, because youth then were into apps and ecosystems that were far away, they didn't want to be on their parents' contract, because they don't want the parents seeing what they're going. So, and in the app, there was a lot of passion points like music and sports rewards. And Deezer was in there. Now it's before the Spotify and Apple era.
Yes.
So that's how we built that. So, but that was the first time where the tech team, I worked with a tech team that had almost more say than marketing. I've got to be honest. But it's because it's technology engineering companies. It's just like when I went to banking, the CAs had more voice. So was integrated from that perspective. But it was, business objective was, how do we get 1 million accounts from youth? How do we keep them on? How do we get them from not switching out? And it's as simple as that, working with your strategist is your best partner, your research person, and your R&D engineering person. None of these, like when people go and say, I did it. It's like, no, it's an integrated team that delivers things. Like, unless you're going to say, you're the finance person, you're the engineer, you're the strategist, you're the researcher, you might be the leader that's integrating and helping deliver this project. But there's no level of work that I would say and perhaps it's my personality. It's not all about me. Every piece of work that I delivered. So I can name the people against the projects where I led that helped me deliver those projects.
Amazing. Talking about people, you said something where you said you lead from within. For this interview, I think I may have gone to Bing as well to try to look for something. I'm like, Google is not giving me anything. And I think maybe that speaks to your approach to how you show up, where you show up. There was such limited information, which some people might be like, maybe it's an issue, but I find it so interesting and fascinating in that I love the idea of leading from within. What you've just mentioned about it's a team of people who bring it together. In part of the research, what I keep hearing is people.
Yes.
And interestingly, now that you've spoken about your SESCO days and realizing something and going, no, but wait. So there are more people struggling with this thing, and you're like, I'm in there. There's a centeredness, or how organizations go, we customer centric.
Yes.
I feel like you are human and people centric, where it isn't about you. And you probably don't want to answer this question,
But you're going to ask it. I see.
but I'm going to ask it. I want you just to talk about your leadership style, and I think it's important. Growing people, helping people grow, leading authentically. Do you have an approach?
Yes.
How do you do it?
Sure. I have an approach, but I'd be lying to you if I said it was deliberate all my life, because it wasn't deliberate. I feel like I've stumbled into it, or maybe not stumbled, it's contextual. People are where they grow up in and the environment they come from. So even when you try and rehearse, the real you will come out.
Eesh. You've got bars for days.
No, the real you will come out. So I'm a participative leader. So I lead from within a team. So I like harmony, and it's context from my upbringing. So I lead from within, which is they call it a participative leader, which is I'll listen to people's opinions, integrate, and then decide when I must stand up and lead. When I say not lead, I must stand up and be in the forefront. But I like hearing people's views, because I believe when people are heard, they're more willing and they give more. So my style is from within, and I believe there's no person too junior or too senior. So one of the things I detest hierarchical environments. I respect it and I can comply, but it makes me, I don't want to be within that all the time. So I believe everyone has an experience. Everyone has an opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean everyone's opinion is right. So
you have to discern.
You have to discern, and then you also need to calculate when you need to guide. So I'm quite firm in terms of knowing what the direction is. So when you're working with teams, you must understand what the vision and mission is. You need to make everyone else understand that. Not everyone will be aligned, but then you need to coerce and get people aligned. So participative leadership is not weak leadership. I think often it's thought of as weak leadership. So I am people-centric. I am authentic. I haven't, I can't say I've always authentically showed up in some environments because I'm quite compliant, because I don't want to be rejected. I used to have a fear of rejection, rather, let me say it. And I've worked on that in this late stage of my life. In the last 3 years, since I exited Standard Bank, I've worked on being comfortable in the discomfort.
Okay.
Because I've always grown up with wanting to be accepted and wanting to belong and not be rejected, which comes from an orphanage thing and everything else. And I'm like, actually, no, man, come on. Be comfortable with what you know. That imposter syndrome doesn't matter. And people come to you for guidance and mentorship. And you've actually left people better off. So I feel like the world, everyone in the world has got something to offer, and we've got to be kind, let's be kind and let's give everyone the opportunity. So in terms of a leadership style, I would say I am quite forgiving. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but I can be tough because I'm quite clear, but I make it obvious that it's okay to have the uncomfortable conversations. And a no doesn't means that there's less of you. One of the things I say to my daughter Lebone, and I heard her repeat it to her cousins the other day, no, just ask them. If they say no, it's just no, and then and you move on. And then I was like, oh, does that sound like me? And then someone also looked back, they're like, huh. And which is one of the things I said, be comfortable with a no, because you'll sit and ruminate what ifs. And I'm like, all those scenarios that you're playing is wasting time and it's creating anxiety. Present it to the client or ask someone, go in, and if they say no, then you pivot. So my life lesson is actually you must always pivot. Do scenario planning, have plan A and plan B, and iterate. So it's as a leader, I'm like, guys, we are fixing in flight. So some people have said, you are a perfectionist, you don't realize. And I said, no, I am, but it doesn't mean everything must go right. We fix in flight. So once you said to the people, this is the North Star, we're flying there, but this plane is not landing. So everyone who gets on the plane must be very honest and must be very clear about what their superpowers are. And you need to work on knowing what your blind spots are, and you need to share it, so that when we put you in, like, on the spot, it is now your turn to fix, like, you now next to fix a wing. We need to know that actually he's not good on the left or the right. So if we don't know that, so transparency and honesty, biggest values. I can do a lot with people that have been honest with me. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know how to protect you. I don't know how to help you. And I am a helper. So if you, and I ask people to work on it, because a lot of people veer away from knowing what their weaknesses are. It's like, oh, okay, but like, you need to know what your blind spots are and what you're not great at. And we can amplify, like, glorify your superpowers. So we know we can work on it. If you're only good on the left wing, just like playing sports. I mean, I was a right-wing player as on the hockey field. You put me on the left, useless. They'll beat me. Do you understand? So you must understand what you're good at. But the flight is not landing. We're fixing in flight. And so if we know that we're highly dependent on you and you are strong, you are weak on the left, we know we must have the second in command who's like there behind you, because you've been honest about it. But there's a place for everyone. There's a place for everyone on the flight, as long as your first competence is what you must be strong and good in it. So you must know what your superpower is. And if you have no superpowers, also be honest and, like, say, okay, fine, this is not my flight now. Like, I'll get on the next one, or I'll get on your helicopter ride, or I'll get on your ship. Yeah, you're making me think back at Standard Bank. There were people, they said in my first meeting, I said, guys, this ship is going into the deep ocean. And if you can't swim, you must get off. You know? And then Brael said to me, he's like, he was head of research. He says, yo, Sis Lindy. I was like, this girl, what does she think this is? And I hate water and I can't swim, but I know I need to be like, I needed to learn how to swim because it's like the pace. So I'm driven, I'm fast, I'm passionate, and I like teams, but like, if that is not how you are, but you have a great superpower and I need it, I'll create space for you.
Wow.
So because there's lots of space for everyone.
Amazing.
On any journey of life, yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's the people-centeredness.
You know what I like? I think 2 last questions to close off. But what I liked is your choice of words, which actually makes me believe you. You spoke about weakness. You spoke about harmony.
Yes.
You spoke about participative. These are words that, if we were talking about typical leadership, these are not words that are used in the boardroom. So I think, I don't know if you're hiring, but I feel like if people are listening, they're going to be like, I want to work for you, or under you, which is great, which is what I think is needed. As you're speaking, I realize how much we don't lead with grace. We are not understand. We just focus on the outcome, the output. Are you delivering? I remember, a couple of weeks back, I wasn't feeling great. And then I think I got to appreciate the space that I'm in, where I'm not necessarily working for a company. I realized that it reminded me of the days whenever I was sick, people would call to check in, but it wasn't to check in, it was to check if I'm coming back. When are you coming back? It wasn't really like, are you doing okay? It was a...
they didn't know how to start it.
Exactly. Somewhere in the conversation, you can hear it's leading to that email that you need to check. So I commend you for your leadership, and I've also heard stories where your leadership and what you're saying has come through, where people have become better off by engaging with you and being in the environment. Now, to wrap up very briefly, the first question is, I always say with experience, you actually experience it when you move to the next thing. When now all the learnings are coming and now you're implementing. Through your experience, what are the top 3 things that you believe you've learned or are critical in this business? You can refer back from even Shell days to today. And then the last question is, your role. I think this is a KISS question. It sounds obvious, but maybe it isn't. Just to close off in terms of your role, what is it that you have been mandated with? What do you do? and how do you go about it?
You've laid the questions there, and you want me to keep it brief.
Sorry.
Okay, so the three things that I've learned over my career, I'm going to call it career, is 25, and is that do what you say and you're going to commit to. Because, yeah, talk is cheap. So I'm all about just do it. So it's about talk less and do more. So
is that why we don't see a lot of you on the social media space?
That's a whole nother podcast.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll come back.
No, but importantly, yes. But I've also grown up in the era where it's about the work. And it's probably a part of my personality as well. But as I said, this in this era now of social media and stuff, everyone needs help. Everyone needs to learn something, and I probably need help on that one. Yeah. So back to the three things. So it's like talk less, do more, as a friend coined it for me. Don't be scared of failure, because your biggest lessons could be learned when you're there in the middle of the storm. And then lastly is learn to enjoy the moment and enjoy the work, and that speaks to passion. You can see when someone is not passionate for their work, about their work, in their work. And as a marketeer, it shows. It shows in the strategy, it shows in how the work comes out, and it's just so disheartening to be in a room where I'm an energy person. There's no je ne sais quoi in it. Yeah. So choose and do what you're passionate about. The role, so in closing, the role that I've chosen to do now, which is to lead an agency operating model across 56 countries for the biggest brand on my favorite continent, Africa, is a role about integration of many capabilities in a space where it allows one to be your authentic self. So it's about creativity and strategy, and partnering with a big business unit that has got to bring joy into people's lives from a beverage perspective. What I'm tasked to do is to help the client win. I'm tasked to help integrate and deliver the best capabilities from across the best agencies or partners within WPP. So OpenX is an operating model where the best in class from any one of our opcos are integrated into OpenX to deliver for our client. So it's a beautiful piece of work. And for the rest of that, people can go online and read about it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think you called it, part 2 or 3. In fact, maybe part 4, because I think we've done part 1, part 2, part 3 in this one sitting. But humbly, I'm so grateful. I appreciate your insights. I think there should be more opportunities for you to engage and share with the world. I think there's so much to learn and to absorb from you. So it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you too. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.